Okay, so Daisy. Um, I am going to read what you all have written about Daisy, but first of all, I just want to get your general impressions of her. Uh, I asked you earlier how many of you had changed your ideas about Daisy in the intervening chapters. We were mostly, if I remember, pretty neutral on Daisy before, right? Nobody had strong feelings about her one way or the other. What are your feelings now about Daisy? Mostly positive or mostly negative? Or are you still sort of neutral on her? Who would say that their feelings are mostly negative about Daisy at this point? Well, I'm with you, T-Bone. I don't know about everybody else. Robin's kind of, eh.
I think I'm in the middle too. And I think I'm almost like, I think it's, mine is more like neutral negative.
Neutral negative?
Like it's a suspicious of her, but I don't know what she's up to.
I just feel bad.
Yeah,
I did feel something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, you feel bad for her. That's fair. Does anyone feel positive about Daisy? Does anybody like her? Not that she doesn't have any good qualities, but my God, is she shallow, right? And I think I said this maybe last time, but is there anything more to her than just the surface? So for me, this is what ruins the possibility of seeing Gatsby as a great romantic lead. If Daisy was an amazing person, then I'd be inclined to, I'd be inclined to give Gatsby more credit as a romantic. Right? If she was a great person, she had some really great qualities, super intelligent or very kind or whatever, I'd be inclined to be more sympathetic to Gatsby. But because she's just so nothing, then I kind of think that Gatsby's a nitwit. I apologize for using such strong language. I thought it was funny. So does that kind of make sense? So I wonder how I can compare this story. I don't have anything really off the top of my head to compare it to without, telling you guys all too many details of my personal life. But and we just don't have time for that. But the fact that Daisy is not impressive, really, in any way. So she's pretty and she has a nice voice. That's kind of like, that's what we've got from her as her positive characteristics, right? That seems pretty weak in terms of, like, that's your justification for obsessing over somebody for 5 years. Like, there are other pretty girls out there. I guarantee it, right? Probably some of them have nice voices too. Like, if that's your whole bar, your bar's not set that high, man. So this, I don't want to give away my conclusion too much here, but I think that Gatsby is more in love with the idea of Daisy than he is with Daisy herself, right? His fascination is what Daisy represents to him, right? And this makes him, for me, a lot less great. I don't want to don't want to, spoil you reaching your own conclusions about the character and the book. It doesn't prevent the book from being great. The book is still great regardless. But I needed Daisy to be a lot better of a character in order to take Gatsby seriously as this romantic hero. And the paradoxical thing about that is that the fact that he's not a great romantic hero almost means that we can take the whole story more seriously as a novel. It's not just a romance. It's a real story. Does that kind of resonate? So, it's not that there's anything wrong with romance stories, but that clearly isn't what this is all about in terms of maybe what F. Scott Fitzgerald was trying to get at. And this is the disappointing aspect of Daisy's character is it took me a few readings to kind of absorb this. The disappointing aspect of Daisy's character makes the book better because it makes you look harder for things. It makes you look more at what things mean, because we have to believe that he could have made her a great deal more likable than she is. We have to think that, don't we? Like, he's clearly a capable writer. He could have made her much more likable instead of us just being whatever about her, or vaguely sort of negative. And so I grappled, my first couple of times that I read this book, I grappled with this notion of, like, I felt like I was supposed to like Daisy and I didn't. And I couldn't understand what that was about. And I think I've got it now. I think I'm not supposed to like Daisy, and that's supposed to make me think harder about the rest of it, which is kind of brilliant. Okay, so Zoe says, to begin with, I never really did like Daisy. She seemed so whiny, so in need of attention, whether from Jordan, Tom, or even Nick. Reading chapter 4, it is revealed to us as readers that Daisy had something to do with Gatsby, seemingly a romantic interest. Through this reveal, she loses Gatsby while he's off at war. Her parents also hold her back. From dealing with the loss of Gatsby, I think that's why she's needy in attention, especially from those she's close to, since she's afraid she may lose them. This is possible, but I don't think we necessarily need to follow that conclusion that her original loss of Gatsby is what makes her needy in the first place. It's entirely likely that that neediness has always been there from, whatever other aspect of her character or her upbringing have created it. Okay, let's see what Taylor has to say. Daisy comes across as, had a temporary lisp there, as quite dramatic, as we have already gathered. She seems not just emotionally attached to boys, but to the small things as well. In one part, Daisy cries over how beautiful some shirts are. I don't like her, and she seems like the stereotypical popular hot girl that's a snob. Yeah. That's... I think you said that in a lot fewer words than I did just now, but yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah. Okay, spoilers for chapter 7. But
I wasn't sure if we were actually
I wasn't sure.
we were supposed to read chapter 7, and I didn't see your question until this morning.
Okay,
I don't know.
I thought so.
But I did intend that you were supposed to read through chapter 7. So Myrtle gets run over by Gatsby's car, and Daisy is revealed to have been driving it at the time. Big stuff, guys. Okay, so this explains why some of the stuff I've been talking about I wasn't sure what you guys had read yet. Okay, So Gatsby explains later that Daisy panicked when Myrtle ran in front of her and stepped on the gas and didn't swerve away from her. Now,
Wow.
What a panic.
yeah. It's a good thing I don't do that whenever a deer runs in front of me on the highway.
Well, there was a car coming towards them, right?
Yeah, so she's.
So it was
I-
either hit
yeah,
an oncoming car or hit her.
Yeah,
Yes.
she sort of
Yeah.
towards the car, then sort of back towards Myrtle to avoid the car.
Yeah.
So I'll give her a little bit of credit.
But
Yeah.
at the same time,
I mean, like,
yeah,
she would be
you
a
kinda
little
have
bit
to go fast.
safer if
Yeah, I
since she
would-
was the one in the car than the person walking.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yep.
What can you do?
So now, this is something that could happen in real life, obviously, but it doesn't add up to me. What are the odds that Daisy would be driving down the street at the exact same time Myrtle, who is Daisy's husband's side piece, that's okay, nice, ran into the road, and Gatsby says he thinks she wanted to talk to them? Gatsby says that Daisy panicked and messed up her swerve, but what if she didn't? She had a lot of reasons to hate Myrtle after all. Of course, it might be the rule of symbolism in play or a coincidence for added plot drama, but I doubt the latter. Okay, so that's a lot of reveal for those of you that haven't read that yet. So, what do we think? What are our reactions to that? So, now you can feel bad for her that she killed somebody if you can be sure that it was accidental.
She also drove away after.
She also drove away after, which is kind of, I don't know, does the phrase dick move apply? Okay, it's a dick move for sure. I think that's maybe even underselling it. Like, that's a really awful thing to do. Now, it's going to get even spicier. So, hold on to your seats. But Gatsby says he thinks she wanted to talk to them. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, but she thought that was Tom's car because she saw Tom in it when they were getting gas there. Or was it?
Right.
Or from George.
Yeah. So, still running out into the street seems really unwise, but the plot kind of needed it, it seems. We need something to happen, some sort of collision. Sometimes the collision that a plot needs is a literal one, but we need something to happen that shakes everyone out of the positions that they're kind of set into.